Chapter 10. The spirit dries up because it cannot eat love. Since there is no love, dry inside. In the last days, people sigh because love is not even in the family. The reason people stab each other and can't embrace each other is that there is no love. If there is no love, people stab each other. Would they be happy doing these things? My love is not the eternal water of life, so it dries up. When I stab the other person, it means I'm already dry inside. But if God puts eternal water of life inside me, there is no work of drying up. And this is the era of love. The more that love goes out from me, the more that satisfaction comes. If love does not go out of us, our spirits dry up inside. We must no longer be deceived. God commanded us to love, and we must obey this word. Then all things open. Though I cannot do it, if I love in the way God commanded, things open. If love doesn't go out, all things get blocked. If a spiteful heart forms inside those who are commanded by God to love, their work becomes tangled. The thoughts of people cause things to become tangled and cause people to become enemies. This is to be deceived by Satan, so we must only love. Because many people in this era have lost what is real and hold on to what is vain, spirits are drying up. Although their outside shape looks beautiful, there is no love. The spirit of man is drying up. Now, God of the era of love does not allow us to be deceived. He finds for us the love that was lost in Eden. Since they cannot be supplied with love, they are dying. Humans live because of love and die because of love. If one eats love, one also does not grow old. That is why the time of eating love is best, better than the time when eating food. The reason humans grow old and get wrinkles is that they cannot eat love. If one has eaten love at some point, but isn't able to eat it anymore, one must know that the quantity of love with which one was supplied decreases as days go by. That is why wrinkles become formed. Rather than getting wrinkles because one ages, one forms them because one cannot eat love. As humans grow old, it's human nature that they want to dialogue with their children and hug and embrace them. But when they grow old, there is no one in their surrounding who puts love inside them. Furthermore, love is insufficient, so they need to receive more love. Even if parents tell their children they want a dialogue for just 1 hour, there is no one who would sit and listen to their words. There is no one to give parents love. The more people grow older in age, the more that people who can feed love to their parents disappear, so the parent is unhappy. Although many people lived as children who received love from their parents, they cannot pay back the love. Even though parents are requesting love inside, they are not able to receive it from their child. This is why we must receive God's love. Depression and Alzheimer's are diseases that come from not receiving love. Humans on this earth are dying because they cannot correctly be supplied with love. If we go before God, He puts love inside us. What person is there who is like God? Who can supply many people with love every day? Now, the person who supplies God's love to the people that could not be supplied with love is the person who has received the most blessing. Since they cannot eat love, spirit dries. We cannot treat those who are loved by God in any thoughtless way. To save the lives loved by God, God ties them together as family. We must show only love to the family. But daily living can get difficult, so we sometimes consider the family as baggage. The generosity of heart to be able to love disappears because the husband, wife, and/or child are baggage. They cannot love and they go on living forcefully. They cannot love from the place where they're supposed to love, and they cannot receive love at the place where they're supposed to receive love. If this goes on for a long period of time, depression comes. Being depressed does not just refer to reminiscing about the past or gazing at the red glow of the sunset. When one isn't able to eat love at the time of receiving it, depression immediately comes. Depression comes when I cannot sacrifice, when I cannot embrace with love from inside, and when I cannot receive and take in love. Depression is a phenomenon of love deficiency, which comes because love is lacking. Depression is a disease that comes because people have spiritual malnutrition. They could not eat love at the time they were supposed to eat it. Ultimately, Satan grabs this string and drags people to death. If one needs to supply someone with love but can't do it, they both become sick. If a mother needs to give her child breast milk, but her child can't drink it, both the child and mother die. When love isn't given out at the time it must be given out, the spirit dries up. Love must be given to the person who is supposed to receive love. Since one cannot give love, problems get created. The reason a tree's shape grows bumpy is that it cannot eat the nutrients. So deformity comes out. The nutrient inside us is love. The person who was created by love must live by eating love. We lived by eating love, but if love ceases, our spirit dries up and dies. If we eat love again, we come alive again. Once humans are born, they must eat their parents' love to their heart's content. If they eat their family's love to their heart's content and eat the love of their surroundings, there would be no deficiency when it comes to love. When there's no insufficiency with love, one saves the other person with that love. Those who lived while perfectly eating love become a protecting shade of love. They embrace and save everyone who goes underneath it. God is original love. Not anyone can follow his love. When it comes to love, he is the best. But at this time on this earth, there is no love. It is drying up. So God is trying to restore the earth again by love. There is nothing that cannot be solved inside God. In the era of love, by love, he saves those who are depressed and saves those whose spirits are dry because they couldn't eat love. If love dries, there is no joy. The era of love is the end of all the days of evil's life. It is the era where God's love is restored. Love that is of the earth might begin fierily, but it cools down later on. With God's love, although the beginning might be weak, prosperous works arise later. God's things become prosperous, but the things of human subside. It is the end of all the days of evil's life. God fulfills the beginning and the end. It says in Revelation 22:13, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end. The one who begins and ends is God, and God fulfills the era of love as his completion. The love of God rises inside me. That a flower blossoms on a tree and then wilts is because love has dried, and the tree with dried up love cannot give joy. When a tree blossoms, a beautiful flower and fruit are born. Joy is given. With regards to love that's of the earth, humans can turn their backs when they don't like someone or something. But God's love is love that's given without end and without change. All persons of this earth must receive such love. Why would people who are very old have no laughter? That laughter disappears means love is drying up. No matter how much love is given, the spirit has dried up, so they cannot even take in the supply. If I cannot receive love that another person gives me, it means love has already dried up inside me. If I cannot absorb laughter when the other person approaches me in laughter, love has already dried up inside me. Joy must be shared together with the other person. Rather than having a heart that shares the joy together, if I have the expression on my face that says, "Why are you so joyful?" then love in me has dried up. There is a problem in the heart. When love dries up, joy disappears. Love is drying up now in this era. For flowers to bloom and fruit to be born, we must take in the love of God. If love does not go, someone else's husband. The child of God must live while laughing. How would God feel if I'm frowning as I'm being mocked by the other? He went as far as to send his Son to this earth and let us live inside of thankfulness, joy, peace, and grace. If we live life difficultly, his heart is in pain. We must realize God's will. We must rule over the things of the other well and live while laughing. Because humans were built by love, misery comes if they use something different, something other than love. What isn't love is the other. In other words, anything beyond love is, spiritually speaking, someone else's husband. So there is no peace. When one uses something other than love, one isn't living with one's own husband, but with someone else's husband. If we live with someone else's husband, how could we live while being relaxed? It would be to live while being deceived. If something different enters inside us that is not God's love, it is someone else's husband. Rather than love going out to the other person, if I constantly stab the other person, it means someone else's husband is inside my spirit. This does not belong to us, so we must not use it. Our things are God's things, which are thankfulness, joy, peace, and love. When we use God's things, our lives are peaceful and there are no worries. We must overcome the wind of Passover by thankfulness. Revelation 7:1-3 tells us that until God's children have seals on their foreheads, 4 angels hold onto 4 winds of the earth. These winds are starting to blow violently now on this earth. Due to these violent winds, the economy of the whole entire world is becoming more difficult as time goes by. As it is God's plan to open the era of love, economy troubles have come. The economy has a direct connection with money. God said that the love of money is the root of all evils. But people in this era think all things work as long as there is money. Many think they cannot live without money. Rather than loving God and relying on Him as more time passes, people love money more. So He is taking hold of the economy, and He comes again to put His love inside people. Even if the human has nothing, if one only has love, one can live. Even though one has everything, if love dries up, one cannot live. The old tree whose love has dried up is already a dead tree. By the time it is known that the tree has died, leaves have already fallen off and the body has dried up. When we see with our eyes, it may look alive, but when a specialist looks, the tree is dead. While love has already dried up in this era, it seems like it is still alive. But Revelation 3:1 says, "You have a name that you are alive, but you are dead." If a person cannot receive and take in love, such person is dead. If I want the life inside my spirit to live, I must know how to receive love. The tree that is alive absorbs water well. If it can't do well at absorbing the water, it is dead even though it appears alive. We must be able to see this era with our eyes of the Spirit. We can see that love is drying up due to the violent winds that are blowing on this earth. God works by seizing the things of the earth that humans use. If God uses the thing that humans like most, if He throws it as a problem, He can know if love is or isn't inside. The person who has love can overcome any problem that comes. But the person who doesn't have love can't deal with a problem when it comes. He or she crumbles. If love is inside me, I am able to jump over all things no matter what sort of problems come. Furious winds are blowing in this era. We must pray while calling out our family members' names so that winds can't swoop onto our families. In every era, there is a Passover. With Passovers, His command falls. In Egypt, God commanded that they catch a lamb and put its blood on doorposts and lintels. If they did not keep this command, people's firstborn children and even the firstborn animals died. A wind that God raised blew in Egypt, and this was the wind of the Passover. With this wind, God protected Israel, but struck Egypt. Now, in the era of love, God commands us to not stop giving thanks. When the wind of the Passover blows furiously on this earth once more, the person who only gives thanks can live. Thus, we must overcome the wind of the Passover by thankfulness.